Morning.
Good morning.
This is Kim and Andy read Urantia, and I'm Kim.
I'm Andy.
Okay, and we're gonna read to you. Okay, first we're gonna read a little bit from "Light the Flame" by Andrew Harvey. Okay, this selection is from Rumi, who lived in the 1200s in Persia. He was born in Afghanistan, and he's kind of famous. I've read some of his poetry. Okay, beloved, drag me, I beg you, into the gang of crazy. Drag me into the gang of crazy. For the ecstasy of drunkenness is far more precious to me than any sane sobriety. Okay, I think our friends in AA are exempted from this passage, right?
Right.
Okay. Do anything you need to me to drive me mad with love and set me free. Wow, that is so hippie. Isn't it?
I like that.
It's like revel in the ecstasy of the divine.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I've been there though. So stability and staying on path is probably more valuable to me than this. But this, yeah, you can have a great time just being just thrilled to love and be loved by the divine.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, when you're in this state of ecstatic fervor, uh, be careful not to hurt yourself or anybody else. This thing.
Right.
Okay. I tell my young ones, party safely, children.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. We're on paper 195 after Pentecost, the influence of the Greeks. Okay. Do you want to take it, Andrew?
Sure. Influence of the Greeks. The Hellenization of Christianity started in earnest on that eventful day when the Apostle Paul stood before the Council of the Areopagus in Athens and told the Athenians about the unknown God. There, under the shadow of the Acropolis, this Roman citizen proclaimed to these Greeks his version of the new religion, which had taken origin in the Jewish land of Galilee. There was something strangely alike in Greek philosophy and many of the teachings of Jesus. They had a common goal, both aimed at the emergence of the individual. The Greek at social and political emergence, Jesus at moral and spiritual emergence. The Greek taught intellectual liberalism leading to political freedom. Jesus taught spiritual liberalism leading to religious liberty. These two ideas put together constituted a new and mighty charter for human freedom, and they presaged man's social, political, and spiritual liberty. Wow.
Hey, that's awesome.
That's a different take than I've heard before.
Yeah.
I like that.
Jesus taught spiritual liberalism. Okay. I'm going to disclose myself here. Sorry. And I know some people won't agree with me. Personally, I'm glad Jesus was a liberal. Okay.
Right?
All right. Okay. So I'm going to keep going. Christianity came into existence and triumphed over all contending religions, primarily because of two things. One, the Greek mind was willing to borrow new and good ideas, even from the Jews. Okay, so they were open. Two, Paul and his successors were willing but shrewd and sagacious compromisers. They were keen theologic traders. Okay, that's so interesting. Traders with a D, trade like we bargain. So they made compromises and they traded on some of your ideas. We'll take some of your ideas, you take some of our ideas.
Mhm.
Okay, that's not something you see as much, especially not in fundamentalism,
Mhm.
right?
Right. Right.
They're all about no
No
compromise. We're not,
compromise.
yeah,
Black and white. Mhm.
black and white. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, Jesus was not a fundamentalist. Okay, you want to go?
Sure. Okay. At the time Paul stood up in Athens preaching Christ and Him crucified, the Greeks were spiritually hungry. They were inquiring, interested, and actually looking for spiritual truth. Never forget that at first the Romans fought Christianity while the Greeks embraced it, and that it was the Greeks who literally forced the Romans subsequently to accept this new religion as then modified as a part of Greek culture. The Greek recovered beauty, revered beauty,
Yeah.
the Jew holiness, but both peoples loved truth. For centuries, the Greek had seriously thought and earnestly debated about all human problems, social, economic, political, and philosophic, except religion. Few Greeks had paid much attention to religion. They did not take even their own religion very seriously. For centuries, the Jews had neglected these other fields of thought while they devoted their minds to religion. They took their religion very seriously, too seriously. As illuminated by the content of Jesus' message, the united product of the centuries of the thought of these two peoples now became the driving power of a new order of human society, and to a certain extent of a new order of human religious belief and practice.
Okay. So it was complementary, the relationship between the Greeks and the Jews
Mhm.
in what it added to the Christian faith.
Mhm.
Each both added a complement.
Good synthesis.
Good synthesis. Yeah. Okay. The influence of Greek culture had already penetrated the lands of the Western Mediterranean when Alexander spread Hellenistic civilization over the Near Eastern world. The Greeks did very well with their religion and their politics as long as they lived in small city states. But when the Macedonian king dared to expand Greece into an empire, stretching from the Adriatic to the Indus, trouble began. The art and philosophy of Greece were fully equal to the task of imperial expansion, but not so with Greek political administration or religion. Okay, because those are systems of control. So when it comes to systems of control, of course, expanding the physical boundaries here of the state here has a huge impact on their systems of control, right?
Right.
Okay. After the city-states of Greece had expanded into empire, their rather parochial gods seemed a little queer. Not in the modern sense, I'm sure. Okay? All right?
Mhm.
The contemporary sense, the way we use the word queer. But no, strange, like because here, now that we're looking at all these different gods, all these different really in more enlightened, higher concepts of God in different parts of the world. And here they've still kind of got the idea of the gods that, dally in human affairs and come and walk around and pretend they're, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just to mess with, just to fool around kind of with human beings, okay? So other places have the higher dignity of gods that care for humans and foster our development, right?
Right.
Their system didn't, the gods didn't do that. We were
Right.
just like, playthings and playmates and you know.
Mhm.
Okay, even though it's entertaining, Greek mythology is awesome in its imagination, just creativity, right? I was always just like floored by just the things they'd come up with. But okay, so they're getting a little bit um, uh, they feel kind of embarrassed about their pantheon and stuff. Okay. The Greeks were really searching for one God, a greater and better God, when the Christianized version of the older Jewish religion came to them. The Hellenistic Empire, as such, could not endure. Its cultural sway continued on, but it endured only after securing from the West the Roman political genius for empire administration, and after obtaining from the East a religion whose one God possessed empire dignity. Okay. In the first century after Christ, Hellenistic culture had already attained its highest levels. Its retrogression had begun. Learning was advancing, but genius was declining. It was at this very time that the ideas and ideals of Jesus, which were partially embodied in Christianity, became a part of the salvage of Greek culture and learning. So it suited the Greeks too. It was good for them, bringing Christianity to them.
Mhm.
Alexander had charged on the East with the cultural gift of the civilization of Greece. Paul assaulted the West with the Christian version of the gospel of Jesus. And wherever the Greek culture prevailed throughout the West, where Hellenized Christianity took root, there Hellenized Christianity took root. Wherever the Greek culture prevailed throughout the West, there Hellenized Christianity took root. So here, Greek culture was associated with Christianity, and I didn't even know that. I knew sometimes the Bible was written in Greek or something. I guess I knew that kind of peripherally, but I didn't think that was really, you know,
The Greek influence was strong from Alexander's conquest, even though that had been superseded by the Roman conquest. But the Greek influence was still very strong, and the Greek language was more universal than any language at that point in that part of the Mediterranean.
right,
Which
right.
is interesting in that the Bible today has gone through several translations from Old Hebrew to Greek, from Greek to Latin, I suppose, from Latin to English. So every time you translate, you're in danger of
Losing
altering
meaning.
a thought, perhaps. Yeah.
Okay, last paragraph is you.
The Eastern version of the message of Jesus, notwithstanding that it remained more true to his teachings, continued to follow the uncompromising attitude of Abner. It never progressed, as did the Hellenized version, and was eventually lost in the Islamic movement. Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay. So yeah, I remember, I think Abner and his Jesus' brother James had this kind of like standoff between, with Paul,
Mhm.
right, with Paul. I don't like to call him what Paul. They sometimes call him Paul the Apostle, but he never knew Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, so but gets called an apostle. Okay, so they had this kind of standoff, and of course, it was Paul and the Greeks that prevailed in that.
Mhm.
So anyway, so this is just history of the faith here. Anyway, I think we're done. You have anything else?
Just to say, have a great day.
Have a great day. Okay. Bye.
Bye.